What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 Postgame Show, powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Jim. With me again is Tyler. Tyler, this is 3 straight days that it's been me and you.
Yeah, they don't make people like they make us. Grit,
No.
determination, and normal people don't want to talk about the Pirates 3 days in a row.
Yeah, I think that says something more about us
Yeah.
than anybody else.
We are
We
literally built
spend
different.
this is just too much time talking about this team. My God. But here we are. Game 2 of the Braves series. Paul Skenes on the mound tonight. He looked off, but at the same time got awesome results. We'll get into that. We'll dive into it. The Pirates lose 2-1 in extra innings today. Just an extremely frustrating loss. One of the more frustrating losses of the season that I can think of, because there were just too many mistakes, not coming through when they needed to. But yeah, we'll break it down. But before we do that, BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season, from baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here. I guess we'll start at the beginning of this one. Paul Skenes on the mound versus Max Fried. So, I mean, we talked about this last night on the post game. It was going to be a pitching duel today, and that's exactly how this one ended up. It really kind of turned out exactly how we thought it might.
Yeah, it did. And like I feel like we've heard a lot recently that Paul Skenes battled through a ball game without having his best stuff. This is what it actually is when he doesn't have his best stuff, because today he did not have it. And it looked like it was a multitude of things. Like, he couldn't command the slider at all, kept missing arm side with it, couldn't spin it. He was moving back and forth on the mound on the rubber. He just had no feel today. And all he did with that is have 9 strikeouts and 1 earned run in 6 innings.
Yeah, it was an interesting game because he was clearly off, right? And you could see it, and then you also analyze the pitch data, and the pitch data says the exact same too. His velocity was down across the board, over a mile per hour on his splinter, over a mile per hour on his fastball. Curveball was down a half a tick. Slider was down a tick. Changeup was down a half a tick. His spin on all of his pitches down, splitter down, four seam down, curveball down, slider down. So there was something off today.
Mhm.
The broadcast, made a lot of a lot of small talk about how, like, he maybe wasn't getting a good grip on the ball. You saw the grounds crew come out and do some yard work to the mound right around the 5th inning or so. And so there was just something going on today where Paul Skenes wasn't his most comfortable on the mound. But like you said, like, despite all of that, it's incredibly encouraging that, yeah, we just saw Paul Skenes clearly not have his best stuff. 6 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. He with clearly not his best stuff. He dominated this Braves lineup. He got into some trouble a few times,
Mhm.
but he was able to dance around it, got some big ground balls when he needed to, cleaned up some innings, and really he finished this game really strong too. He went out there in that 6th inning and struck out the side to kind of just close things out. I just keep getting impressed with this guy because it's either you're super impressed when the stuff is on and it's nasty and no one can touch it, or in the Reds game he had two outings ago, the Reds were on his hard stuff. They switched up the game plan. So, like, he's shown that he can be really effective in more than one way, in more than two ways. Like, he's now showing multiple ways now that he can be a really, really effective pitcher. And he's only started, I think today was his 9th start of his career. And today was, start number 10. actually. Start number 9. Yeah. So like he's shown all this in 9 starts that he can be very effective multiple ways. It's impressive.
It is, and you talked about him kind of flipping the script on the game plan in other games. We saw it again today. The splinker was used a ton. He threw it 35 times, I think, more than his fastball. We saw the curveball get used more than the slider. He pretty much just scrapped the slider today because there was a point either in the third, whenever he was really starting to struggle. I think it might have been the second or third inning, where the slider, he just could not get around it. And he flipped to the curveball, threw that splinker a ton. Like, it's a different type of pitcher almost every outing now with really good results. And today, truthfully, I thought Paul Skenes looked bad for Paul Skenes standards. I didn't think he looked good at all. I thought he was pretty bad. His pretty bad, still pretty good for everyone else.
I mean, the fastest pitch he threw today was 99.0. So like he didn't go above 99 today. So like yeah, like it for Paul Skenes standards, like he looked bad today. The slider was not good today. He only generated 1 swing and miss on that slider. That splinker that's been so effective, only 2 swings and misses, a 9% whiff rate on that pitch. I'll say this: his fastball today is what he feasted on. Even though the velocity was down, 57% whiff rate on that fastball. He generated 8 swings and misses on that pitch out of 14. So that was his money pitch today. He threw more curveballs today than he threw sliders. So again, it's really interesting to see him just go in start after start after start and figure out ways to be effective if he doesn't have his best stuff. Now, when he has his best stuff, it's like good luck hitters, right?
Right.
But when he doesn't, it's really cool to see him do stuff like this where he can use that entire arsenal and he can just be really effective a different way. And that's just what makes him so special, in my opinion. I mean, you're now looking again, 9 starts. He was in college a year ago. Like a year ago, he was a pitcher for LSU. And
Right.
today he's dominating the Atlanta Braves. Like that's how incredible this has been for him. And he's got a 2.06 earned run average in his 9 starts. I don't know how much more you can say here, but early on, I said this dude might be the best pitcher I've ever seen. And I haven't seen anything to tell me that I should think otherwise at this point. Like through 9 starts, he's incredible.
He really is. And like you mentioned, the ability to be fluid with the situation. Like, a lot of guys would get stubborn when they have a slider and a fastball that do what his can do. He's not. Like, if they're not working that day, he's got 3 other pitches that he's just going to move to and make those work. Like, the way he's able to adjust on the fly has been the most impressive part, because you really just think he's going to be a power pitcher. No, he has a mind for the game as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's
The
been
best pitcher. He's
outstanding.
the best pitcher ever.
Yeah. Like I mean, you got to remember, like, this is his first 9 starts. And I think it's crazy when you get to the point where like the expectations for him were so high. And I think they were too high. Like they were unfairly high. And he's exceeding those expectations, like far and away exceeding those expectations. Since his call up, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. And we had Jim Callis on Thursday night, and he even said it. He was like, if I had to pick one pitcher right now to start a game,
Yeah.
It's probably Paul Skenes. He's been that good. So yeah, he was incredible again today. Again, like that it was that Ozuna at bat again, like that same as last night, actually. Like that at bat to Ozuna last night, Martin Perez, he didn't win it. Ozuna won it, and that ended up being the difference maker in that game. There was another big at bat today, Ozuna with men on. I think it was in the 2nd inning. Was that in the 2nd inning where he had
it's when he walked
no,
back to
3rd
back
inning.
isn't it?
3rd inning. So
Yeah.
he had bases loaded, 1 out, and Ozuna up the bat. So another pivotal at bat. He gets the double play, keeps the to a 1-0 lead. Pirates were able to scratch and claw their way to tie it up. And we'll get to the offense. This Pirates offense is it's
People really just want
pathetic.
us to trash this
It
offense right now.
is terrible. Don't
We
worry,
know they
guys.
can't hit,
Everyone
guys.
in the comments wants us to trash this offense. We will get to it. All right.
Paul Skenes
But
exists. I want to talk about him.
we need to talk about Paul Skenes and how good he is. Yeah, like he was incredible again today. Yeah, I don't know how much more we can talk about him.
Fine, we'll cave. Let's talk about the offense.
All right.
They're terrible. They're bad. It doesn't matter who's on the mound, if it's a lefty or a righty. The right-handed hitters can't hit lefties, or left-handed hitters can't hit righties. Most of them can't hit anybody. They're bad. They don't situationally hit, and they don't put themselves in the position to hit in situations. There's no fix right now. They got to start firing people.
0 for 10 today with runners in scoring position. 0 for 10. This was after being, I believe they were 1 for 9 last night. Yep, 1 for 9. So 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position in these 2 games in Atlanta. That's just not acceptable. Like you are going to lose if that's what you're going to do. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose every time. You're going to lose every time. And they've lost these last 2 games. They scored 1 run last night, 1 run tonight. And you know what? Morton looked good last night. Fried looked good tonight. Like Max Fried's a really good pitcher. But at some point, you've got to do something. And they had their chances today. That's the thing. Like Fried was not sharp today. He had his curveball working pretty well, but outside that, like he was shaky. He walked 3 batters. He gave up 6 hits. Pirates had plenty of base runners on base throughout this entire game. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. There were some things that happened in this game. It was so frustrating. O'Neal Cruz pinch hitting for Connor Joe in the 7th. He strikes out on a pitch clock violation. You can't do that. Like if you're called upon to pinch hit in an opportunity, you can't just automatically give yourself up. You can't do it. And like I said, I will never ever say O'Neal Cruz is lazy or he's checked out or he doesn't want to be here. I'm not going to say that stuff, but it's stuff like this that is why you give the other people the ability to say things like that. Like that's just a mistake that you can't make at this level. He needs to be better. Like he needs to be better than that. So that was just really disappointing to see. And then in the 10th inning, I do want to just touch on this because just bad baseball again. Like you get this gift where you get a wild pitch with a runner on third. You go home, Oliveira slides, and this slide, it's a terrible slide. It's just an awful, awful slide. When you slide, you should try to touch what you're sliding towards as soon as possible, right? And Oliveira slides, his leg isn't out in front of him. It's curled up under his body. So he loses basically 2 feet worth of a slide there. And he ends up getting out on a wild pitch. So the Pirates lose that free base runner they have in the 10th, and then they lose it in the 10th with an Adam Duvall walk off. But just too many mistakes, not being able to come through when you need to. It's just the same thing, like night in and night out. It's so frustrating.
Again, it's just not doing little things well. And it's not just one guy all the time, but it's a lot of the same guys. Like O'Neal Cruz, again, you said it. That's why people are able to get on your case about stuff. That's why you get called lazy. And I don't know that he's lazy, but he has too many mental lapses. He does. And there's a lot of guys on this team that have way too many of them. Oliveira's in the 10th. You have to score. There's no excuse. I don't care. You have to score. You cannot get a bad jump there. And for God's sake, when you slide, actually get down. Like, learn how to slide. This is not rocket science. This is little league stuff, and that's back-to-back nights too with all of errors where last night he throws behind the runner. Today he can't slide. This is 6U stuff. Figure it out, man. Too much of this happens day in and day out. And it's the same but different guys, and it's the same but different things, but it's all not winning baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it sucks because, I mean, Nick Gonzalez is someone who you've been relying on a lot lately. He goes over 3 with runners in scoring position. He had a rough game. Andrew McCutchen over 4 out of the leadoff spot. He did get a walk. Yasmani Grandal was up in some big situations and didn't come through. He did get a hit today, but in the situations when you needed him to come through, he didn't. Michael A. Taylor did score the only run of the game, but he also went 0 for 2 with runners. Like, it's just everybody, when you need them to come through, they just haven't been. And it's a pattern, and it's 12 men left on base today. Again, the 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You're not going to win. You're not going to win when you do that, especially when you have a team like this and this team can't hit the ball over the fence. They can't hit the ball when they're supposed to. 2 runs in 2 games equals 2 losses. And now you're 4 games under 500. You're about to be 4 back of, the Padres, and for that second wild. Like, we talked about having to reel off wins, and they're doing the opposite. They have to win tomorrow. Like, they need to somehow figure out a way to avoid a sweep here.
Yeah, they do. I don't know the answers anymore here. Like, we can't get fooled by a 2-week stretch where they suddenly hit. And it's another case where you're burning a Paul Skenes start. Like, again, we have a finite number of these starts. Every time he pitches and you perform like this, you are wasting him. They're flat out wasting him. With this lineup, they're wasting probably some of the best pitching that they're going to get in my lifetime. Flat out wasting it. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is, because this is now 2 straight Paul Skenes starts too, where he gives you 7 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 1 run, and you can't capitalize on either of them.
Literally only gave up a run to the leadoff hitter.
Yeah,
twice.
He basically went 6 scoreless and 7 scoreless after spotting them a run. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you aren't able to figure out a way to win a game where your starting pitcher gives up 1 run. In either instance. Paul Skenes hasn't given up more than 1 run in a start since June 5th, by the way.
And how many of those games have they won?
2. They're 2-2 in those starts.
It's pathetic. Like, that's just sad. You got to make a change here at some point. I'm sorry. Structurally with the players, I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know what you can do. You got to shake it up somehow. Somehow, some way, you got to shake something up.
Yeah. Something has to change. You can't just continue to do the same thing. Well, that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again. That's not working. And that's what we're seeing right now. So what they're doing is insane. You got to switch it up. You got to do something different. If that's, and the problem that we're running into right now is there's not a lot of help internally here. You can say, give Matt Gorski a shot. You can say, give Joshua Palacios a shot. But guess what, guys? We know what those guys are. They're not good, right? They're not good. Could they maybe be better than what we have right now? Maybe, but they're not good. The only help this team's going to get is from external options. And I don't trust the people in charge to go out there and effectively get external options. They haven't shown that they can do it yet.
No, they haven't. There's a lot of different things you can do, but none of them are really good options at this point, and it's their own fault. They put themselves in this position by not acquiring enough talent. And the talent that they have, they didn't improve it enough. That's why we're where we're at right now. Mediocre. Actually below mediocre.
Yeah, this team's now 39-43. It's 476. It's a 77 win pace.
Yep.
If we would have told you at the beginning of the year this team was going to win 77 games, you'd be like, well, that's not good enough. That is not good enough for year 5 of this. Especially when we're getting what we're getting out of these starting pitchers.
Yeah.
Like they have to be better. It's just incredibly frustrating. Bullpen today, I thought, Holderman, Chapman, Majinski, those 3 were great. They came in there following Skenes and pitched scoreless 7th, 8th, 9th. Kyle Nicholas gives up the walk-off in the 10th, but at that point I was already ready to pop on here and talk about a loss. Like when that Edward Olivares play happened and they called him out for that just terrible slide, I was already I turned the TV off. I came to my office, put the game on one of my screens here, and I was like, all right, let's get ready to talk about this loss.
Yeah, pretty much it was over as soon as he was out at home. And I guess to speak positively on something from the bullpen here, it's been good seeing what Carmen Majinski's been able to do lately, sliding into that 7-inning role with Bednar down. He's kind of transitioned in that opener spot, which I think he found some comfortability while doing so, but he looks a lot better right now, and I was a little concerned about him early in the year, and it seemed like the Pirates were too. But he looks to have found his groove again. Looks like he's back to last year's stuff, and that's a positive. They still can't hit, so it doesn't matter. Like when we're at the point where Greg Brown is on the broadcast saying, and the game's over, terrible stuff. Like even they're exhausted.
Yeah. Real quick on Majinski, his June has been incredible. He came up May 17th. He put up a 9.39 ERA in the month of May in 5 appearances. Since the calendar turned to June, 15 2/3 innings, just 2 runs given up. That's a 1.15 earned run average for the month of June. So, yeah, he has been excellent, and you needed him to be. If Bednar is going to go down with an injury, you needed somebody to step up there because that was going to push Chapman and Holderman back a spot in that bullpen. And Majinski's been that guy. He's come in and done just a great job. So I can't say enough things about Majinski. I was extremely worried about him early on because like last year he was very effective, but you look at like the peripherals, right. You look at the underlying things and you were like, yeah, not really sure about this. But he's really calmed down and he's been a good pitcher this last month. So
man, it's hard to even talk positively right now though.
It's tough. I wanted to be positive today because like what Paul Skenes showed me today was like really, really good stuff. It was great stuff. Despite not having great stuff, like him doing what he did was great stuff. And this offense just, again, second game in a row where they just haven't been able to come through following a really, really good Paul Skenes start.
And God only knows what kind of lineup we're going to get tomorrow, but I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. Doesn't matter who it is. None of them are performing other than Brian Reynolds. So we'll probably see a clunker of a lineup tomorrow, and that'll be the one to hit.
Yeah, Brian Reynolds did in the 9th inning with 2 outs. He extends his hitting streak with a triple off the wall. So he's now at 25 games. He just squeaked it out. It's 2 games in a row. He's just squeaking it out, but he got it. Tomorrow, you've got Bailey Falter on the mound against Spencer Schwellenbach, Braves rookie starter. He's only made 5 appearances in his career, and he hasn't really been that great. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. The lineup needs to do something, and if you're gonna do something against somebody, you couldn't do anything against Morton. You couldn't do anything against Fried. All right, well, here's your guy to do some damage against, and they've got to be able to do that.
Yeah, you got to salvage one here.
You do. Falter needs to come up with a big game. Yeah, they need to win it. There's not really must-win games in June ever in baseball, and so I'm not really going to say it's a must-win game, but it's about as close as you can get to one, because you lose tomorrow, you dropped a 5 games below 500. You dropped a 4 back in the wild card with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams ahead of you. When we're talking here about like being buyers at the deadline, when you're the 12th best team in the National League, it's hard to convince yourself that you should even try at that point to buy.
Yeah. Which, again, little self-fulfilling prophecy there.
Yeah. Whose fault is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else to say?
No, I'm just hoping that maybe me and you not being on tomorrow will bring the luck back.
Yeah. Tomorrow is Denard. DiNardo finally does something this week. He gets the whole week off. So DiNardo and Ryan tomorrow, the OGs. So let's see if they can figure out a way to give you all some sandwiches.
And Jim and Ty will have their feet up.
Yeah, I'm just going to be doing nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to golf.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right. Pirates lose 2-1 in 10 innings. Tomorrow, by the way, it's an 11:35 a.m. game. It's one of those Roku games.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of those yet. So I'm kind of curious just on how that broadcast looks. But yeah, 11:35 a.m. Yeah, set your alarms because some of you probably don't even get up that early.
Yeah, if you're on the West Coast, good luck.
Yeah, West Coast people. That's an 8:35 start time.
I'm not gonna lie, I would probably like that.
Wake
up, just turn the game on.
I don't think I would.
I think I would.
On a Sunday, I'm not even waking up at 8:30.
No, I'm up at 6.
Yeah, not me. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. All of you enjoy your weekend. Try to forget this game. Try to forget the ending. It was a rough one, but we'll be back tomorrow with some more post-game shows. If you haven't yet, check out our podcast with Jim Callis that we did on Thursday previewing the MLB draft. It's really good stuff. And yeah, like the video, subscribe to the page, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you guys.
Peace out, Scouts.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.